Welcome, everyone, to episode 87 of the RDH Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Chad. Joined alongside me is my brother, Tanner. How's it hanging on your side?
If you are, look up. Spotify listeners, come over to the YouTube. We have some news. Look at this. Look at this man on my side, repping the PSG in the Champions League final. We'll get to that later on. But god damn, what a Champions League we've had so far. I have been watching it intently. Obviously, it's like the only sports on during the day that's not golf. So it's like, all right, I gotta throw it on. So, also, if you're on YouTube, you look behind me and I got a lot of new toys. I got a lot of new things coming down the pipe over here in the younger Hinks brother household, right? You see behind me, we got some Ohio State stuff. We got some Tony Romo stuff, some Cowboy stuff up there, Marion Barber, some Johnny Manziel, and a little bit of turn the camera, Troy Aikman. And
there we go.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I made both of these, this Ohio State jersey with the Jeremiah Smith, and then the Troy Aikman one. I kind of framed them myself.
Looks good.
Thank you. Not very expensive. Not any game-worn jerseys or any like memorabilia, any official merch like that. Just stuff that I found and just kind of a passion project. So it was a lot of fun, and I think it makes for a great wall art. But that's not what you're here for. You're here for RDH Sports, and we're going to get right into it. And first things up, we got the NFL drafts. If you would lead us off, Chad.
And the good thing about that is I know it's been a long-awaited episode. Everyone's going, what are we talking about? These guys stopped recording when the NFL draft started happening. Well, listen. Because it's been much anticipation. The bad bow tie and the good bow tie segment is officially back. Today we're recapping the first round of the NFL draft. We're going to go through every pick. It's going to be like rapid fire. We're going to rapid fire talk about the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs. Of course, I already know who Champions League I'm picking, And then Tanner threw it on at the end for a little PGA, a little bit of golf championship action too. Tanner and I are going to each take a 2-pack. We're going to pick who we think is going to take this thing for the bettors out there. Okay, NFL draft time. Number 1, we had the Tennessee Titans take the quarterback out of Miami, Cam Ward. For me, good bow tie. Well, I've got an actual tie on. It's a good tie.
Mine's a bow tie. I'll leave the good bow tie on until we get a bad one. How about that?
I'll keep it just like this. So this is a great pick because I can't.
It's a great pick.
It's hard to talk right now. Yeah, you struggling with the bow tie, and I can't put this thing on because my head's too damn big.
Spotify listeners, you're missing.
Yeah, you guys are missing out. I'd go over to the tube. Cam Ward, quarterback of Miami, like I said. Everybody kind of knew that was going to be the pick, but the thing is, looking good, man. Just imagine walking into like a happy hour, like, hey, is it going?
The T-shirt.
Okay. All right, we're back to it. So, Cam Ward, everyone kind of knew this was going to happen, right?
Be serious. This is a serious segment. Come on.
Yeah, to me, it's a good bow tie, clearly. I can't look at the camera. It's a good bow tie with Cam Ward. Easily good bow tie. Is he going to go out there and change the franchise on day one? Probably not. But, hey, maybe he starts this season, and we'll see what happens going on the rest of the season. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my thing with Cam Ward. And also, we got to have a conversation to ESPN and NFL Network. Like, can we talk about the first overall pick next time? Like, what the hell are we doing, guys? Like, talk about the first overall pick. Tell me all about Cam Ward. Not it should have been Shador. And it's more ESPN than NFL Network. But I was just shocked in that, man. I'm just, like, sitting there watching this draft. I'm like, every second they're talking about Shador Sanders. Like, we're going to get into when he gets picked. But, like, guys, come on. It's Cam Ward. He's at least talked about number 1 overall pick of all time. And he's pretty damn good. So, good bow tie. All right, what do you got on Cam Ward?
Love the player, love the pick. I think it's a home run pick. It's just one of those, just like it screams out to you pretty obviously, right? And it's just one of those things where it's like, all right, come on, let's not dilly dally. Let's go pick the future franchise quarterback. Obviously, is he the best? Is he the best prospect that's ever come out of the NCAA? No, he's not. But I think he has so many great things that make him that first overall pick, and why it's a good bow tie, right? He's just confident. He's a leader, and something he's a force, right? He's a guy that people can rally behind, and he can control a locker room. I mean, you saw that he did that an excellent job of that at University of Miami, and obviously he's got a lot of skills. He's a little raw in terms of like his potential, but I think absolutely he can continue to just work on it, and he's obviously getting better and better every single year. So I think as through the draft process went on, it was seemingly obvious who became that number one quarterback in the interviews. Yes, with the Shador kind of tanking the interviews and stuff like that, it made it a little bit of an easier pick, especially when it was just like, okay, who's first, right? Because that's like the whole question going into it. And obviously he interviews very, very well at the combine, and just does everything right, checks all the boxes, and he's a very smart player as well. So it's just one of those things where it's like, all right, this just makes too much sense. Let's go and get our guy. I love the pick from Tennessee. And then we have honestly, kind of a slam dunk pick at number 2 with the Cleveland Browns.
They come out and take Travis Hunter, like you said, literally trade the Cleveland Browns, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars come in there and take them. That's easily a good bow tie. You know what I mean? This one stays on. This one stays on big time. I mean, I think the thing with Travis Hunter is like I nailed the mock draft. I got like the first 8 picks right. I just didn't anticipate Cleveland actually trading out of that spot. But Cleveland will tell you who they get at pick number 5. But I think it's a solid pick with Travis Hunter because this is a guy that is a generational talent. There's not a lot of people ever have done what he's done. So we'll see, how much he plays on both sides of the ball and what side of the ball he excels a little bit more at, whether it be defense or offense, with the wide receiver or a cornerback position. And he's such a, like a tool in the toolbox that there's so many tools that you can use him from. Like he's not only going to line up outside. Like I could see him lining up in the slot. I could also see them throwing him into the box. Like I could see him throwing back and making him play deep. Like he's got so much versatility. So Travis Hunter, good bow tie easily on that one. Are you in good bow tie status too? It looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you go out and get a generational player, a guy that can potentially transform a franchise, I think you have to award that. And I mean, they give up, I don't remember, not a whole lot, right? I think it's like a first next year is pretty much like the borderline of this whole thing. So they're essentially 2 first-round picks for Travis Hunter, and I think that's worth it because he's basically 2 players, right? It's Cleveland in that position. He's like, okay, what are we going to do with Travis Hunter right now? Like, it was a bit of a surprise, especially from the Cleveland fans, where it's like, we just had this opportunity to draft this generational player. Why did we trade out of this pick? But you look at Cleveland, you look at kind of where they are in the rebuild, and you're like, okay, well, they're not like a quarterback away. They're not like a player away from being a contender, right? Everyone can look at the roster and immediately say that. And if I'm being honest, at number 2, obviously you look back and how the draft ended up, and it gives you a little bit of a hint, but Shador wasn't going at number 2, and Jackson Dart was a guy that was, a borderline first round player, and they had to the Giants, trade back into the first round to get him, right? So that's where his kind of value was, and Cleveland picking a quarterback in that spot just wouldn't have made sense. So it would have been Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, or get more picks. And I like the more picks idea because I think they ended up with a great player in the first round of this draft who is no Abdul Carter, but he is a defensive lineman that's going to immediately start and make a big impact. So I like the pick. Cleveland gets some big picks next year. Some first round picks from Jacksonville, depending on how they place. And Jacksonville gets a generational starter. I can't see how this would be bad for either team. So I really love the trade, and it was a blockbuster trade on draft night on the second pick. I got home with Taco Bell. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? I saw Cam Ward get drafted, and I walk in, and suddenly Cleveland has the 5th overall pick. What the heck? So, it was crazy. But
good way to bring in the draft there with a little bit of Taco Bell. Let me add that in there. Good way.
Absolutely.
Good way to do it.
Taco Bell sponsor us.
Yeah, they're like the guy that can't even put on a freaking bow tie. All right, number 3. We got the New York Giants with Abdul Carter. Look, this was one where I was hoping the Giants were going to take like Jackson Dart right here or Shador. They did not mess this pick up. This kid is nasty. And the fact that they have Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau, dude, the Giants are starting to rebuild that line like they used to have it back in the day with Michael Strahan. Like you hear rumors in the offseason that Kayvon Thibodeau's up for sale, and you're just like, this is like Why would you let him go?
Yeah,
You know what I
why?
mean? Why? There's no reason to let him go. He's done really well. And then they draft Abdul Carter, and they're like, yeah, no one's going anywhere. And then it's like, okay, on that one, that defensive line immediately gets upgraded, and you need to have an upgraded defensive line in that division, specifically for the Philadelphia Eagles, because you're facing a guy like Saquon.
Just want to say for those of you who don't know out there, their nose tackle is Dexter Lawrence, who's pretty good. You know, they have an edge rusher by the name of Chauncey Golston, which is a former Cowboy. I do like him as a player. And they got Brian Burns at their one of their outside linebackers, which is pretty good. He's pretty good at rushing the passer. Bobby Okereke, who's pretty good. Nice. And then Abdul Carter over there. Obviously, Kayvon Thibodeau, we cannot forget him. So, yeah, I think they got a couple rotational guys at the very least. But continue.
Good bow tie. Good
Very good
bow tie. Big time. Okay. Anything else on Abdul Carter, or are we moving on to the guy that may have stole the night? Look, the New England Patriots got themselves a guy. I'm going to protect him with my life, with my heart. He's going to wear it on his sleeve. And guess what, Will Campbell, the offensive tackle from LSU. There are trees in Foxborough. And let's rock and roll, baby. Good bow tie, big time. Easily the best offensive tackle in this class. That was my guy. I had him slotted right there in my mock draft as well. And again, when you're the best offensive tackle and all you do is eat, sleep, and breathe football, it's like, okay, like this is a guy that's going to be your left tackle or right tackle for the next decade. And so he's gonna make sure that no one hits that quarterback down there in New England. And with the new head coach, it's probably pretty good because that team's going to turn into a bit of a defensive-minded team with Vrabel up there. Will Campbell, offensive tackle, obviously good on my side. You got good on your side too?
I was muted. Sorry. You got to protect your guy, right? You got to protect your future franchise quarterback. And why not go and pick the best offensive lineman in this draft to do so? And obviously, like you said, he's about to jump off a cliff for Drake May, which is pretty sick, man. So I think they got themselves a good one. Obviously, we've seen a lot from Drake May that is very promising. And now in that Vrabel system, I think we're going to see a lot more running the ball. I think, obviously, we've seen their pick in the second round, right? It looks like the Patriots want to kind of get that running gun with the play action going with Drake May. So I think that this just works perfectly into what Vrabel wants to do over there. So protect your quarterback. We saw the Bengals lose a Super Bowl because of it. So I think it's kind of fresh in a lot of people's minds, and got to build that offensive line, man. That's how Philly won a Super Bowl. That's how a lot of teams have done it in the past too. So I love it, man. I love it. Great bow tie.
And Cleveland comes in at number 5, like you mentioned, the trade back from Jacksonville, and take a interior defensive lineman, arguably the best interior defensive lineman in the draft from Michigan, Mason Graham there. I'm going to keep a good bow tie on for me just because, like you mentioned, they got some picks. And, I understand you want the sexy pick at number 2 with Travis Hunter and maybe even Abdul Carter. For me, that's what I would have done because I would have paired up Myles Garrett and Abdul Carter and would have said, have fun. You know what I mean? But, hey, I'm going to keep a good bow tie on because they did take a very, very big need on the interior defensive lineman. And Mason Graham is nasty from Michigan. So good bow tie for me over here. Tanner, take it away from Cleveland.
I love the pick, like I was saying, because it gives Cleveland a lot more darts to throw at the dartboard, right? It gives them a lot more picks. It gives them a lot more opportunities to draft more players that will be great for their football team. And I think that is kind of the bottom line of this trade that a lot of people don't understand. Kind of look at it a little bit after draft night. I think everyone's starting to realize that it is a good trade. No, you do not get the Lamborghini. You do not get the superstar in Travis Hunter. You do not get the generational talent. But what you do get is a first-round pick in next year's draft for wherever Jacksonville lands. And we know Jacksonville is a franchise that likes to disappoint, no offense. So it could be potentially a good pick. Or, Jacksonville, they could, same with Cleveland, they have their own first-round pick in the next round as well. So they have 2 first-round picks. And if you want to package that, you want to move anywhere around in the draft you possibly can, right? So it gives them a lot of things that they can do in next year's draft wherever they finish, wherever Jacksonville finishes, wherever Cleveland finishes. It just gives them a lot of things that they are able to do in that first round. Obviously, they can sit and pick with both picks and pick 2 players that are great first round talents, which I don't think anybody's going to say is a bad idea. And along with that deal, they also got the rights to Jacksonville's second round pick, which was, I think, like the second in the second. No, it was the first in the second round, if I remember. So they basically got their pick of the running back of the future, right? They got their pick out of the Ohio State boys, which one they wanted, Judkins or Henderson. They went with Judkins, right? They wanted to kind of fit into that old Nick Chubb mold. They want to be a brawling bruiser kind of running style, and they just pretty much reloaded. They got an Ohio State guy, and the guy that they know is a guy that can perform in big time games. I mean, honestly, both of them can. But you look at kind of what Judkins was doing that postseason. He's on fire, right? He's absolutely on fire. Not saying Henderson wasn't. He was on fire too, man. But it's like, which one are you picking, the Bugatti or the Lamborghini? And it's like, okay, both are pretty good, right? So obviously, Henderson, he goes to Patriots, and we talked about that a little bit, but I love the move, man. I really do. I think, like you said, you get potentially the best interior defensive lineman in this draft, and you get a potential starter next year as well with Jacksonville's pick and your own, because let's be honest, Cleveland's probably not going to be that good, and they're probably not, going outside of a top 10 pick, so it's one of those things where you're kind of betting on the future a little bit, but I think given everything that Cleveland has done with win now and go get players now, I think building through the draft and betting on some potential is a good thing for this franchise. So I like it a lot, man, and I think it's a great pick, leaving on the good bow tie, and it sucks that Travis Hunter is not a Cleveland Brown, but Shador Sanders still is,
Yeah, in like the 5th round, right? Okay. Then we have at number 6, we have the best running back in the draft by far, Ashton Jonty out of Boise State goes to Oakland, or sorry, goes to Vegas. Shout out Derek Carr retirement, even though he's not there anymore. Mm-hmm. Good bow tie, big time. Potentially one of the best bow ties of this entire draft. The Raiders said, hey, we lost Josh Jacobs. I don't really care about Josh Jacobs anymore. I'm going to go ahead and just draft this kid. And this kid is absolutely incredible. And the thing with Jonty is, in my opinion, you got this first contract, 4 to 5 years of just A+ running back. And the biggest question is, how is he going to be after those 5 years? Is the Raiders win now in the next 4 years? Well, yeah, probably not. But what do you do when that happens? You build around certain players, right? You build around franchise players. You already have a franchise defensive player with Max Crosby. You already have a franchise tight end with Brock Bowers. Now bring in a franchise running back and see how he transforms this Raiders team. Because if you have Jonty in the background and he's half of what he was in college, like, good luck tackling this guy, because he's a unit. You know what I mean? So easily good bow tie. Great pick for the Raiders, in my opinion. What do you got on this pick? Good bow tie?
Absolutely. Good bow tie. Like I said, I'm keeping it on until I see a bad pick, and I don't foresee a couple bad picks. So like it's going to be one of those things. Hey, it looks like you're taking off your bow tie.
I got a bad pick coming up soon.
Hey, that's pretty fair. But it's Johnson. Like we look at Pete Carroll, we look at kind of what he did in Seattle, and we look at the type of teams that he put together. In my opinion, we got Russell Wilson, got Geno Smith. But you know what we do in Seattle? We run the rock. We pound the rock, right? It's just this culture was built on Marshawn Lynch. I think Pete Carroll is a run-first guy. I think he's a guy that loves to run the ball, and why not go get the best running back in this draft? It's done dividends for franchise in recent memory. You look at the Cowboys with Zeke, you look at Bijan with the Atlanta Falcons, you look at Saquon with the New York Giants, even though it didn't work out there, but he's obviously dynamic in anywhere that he's played, right? So it's just one of those situations where, yeah, I think running back could probably transform a franchise like this, especially given that they already have a veteran quarterback with Geno Smith back there, and now that they're going to have a running back to kind of lighten the load a little bit over there, and I think it's gonna work wonders, man. I think that they putting together a good team. Obviously, you got Brock Bowers over there too, but it's gonna take a little time. They're not gonna come running out of the gate winning their division. It's gonna be a little tough with the Chiefs over there, and that division's getting real good, So it's gonna be tough for them, but I think it's gonna take a couple years. But I think this is the start, right? Just let Jonty, just let him go, and let him figure it out. I think it's a great pick.
Yeah, and then the next pick, we have Armand Membu, the offensive tackle out of Missouri. And this, to me, is going to be the first bad bow tie pick. The reason that I'm going bad bow tie pick here is because, one, I don't foresee a bad bow tie pick coming in. I really wanted to show you guys the bad bow tie. Also, the thing about Membu for me is it's not that he wasn't rated in my top 5 in terms of the offensive tackles. but I actually had Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle out of Texas, ranked above him. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and go with a bad bow tie in this pick here. It's not a bad pick necessarily because you're getting an offensive tackle in the top 10, which means you're getting the top 3 offensive tackles in the draft. But hey, this is a good bow tie or bad bow tie segment, folks. And this is a bad bow tie for me. So there you go. Armand Membu. Sorry, dude. Bad bow tie. First of the episode. Tanner, Dolphins, Ahmad Membu out of Missouri, offensive tackle. Good bow tie. Looks like staying on.
I think good bow tie absolutely stays on. I think you have, so I'm just looking up one thing here. I think you have kind of a franchise that, is in need of a little bit of stability. And that with the New York Jets, I think the best way to do that is just draft a stupid good O-line, let Breece Hall loose, and then just figure out the rest later. Because you have Justin Fields as your QB1 right now. Let's not forget that. And, what is kind of Justin Fields' not strength, but what is his, kind of his ability, right? The thing that he is, good at.
Let me jump in here. My bad. I said the Dolphins. I meant the Jets. That's on me. That's my bad. I said the Dolphins. I meant the Jets. The Jets took Membu at 7.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't even realize that. But it just flew right over my head, and I was like, okay, cool. So the Jets picked Membu. But with that, he's a running guy. He's a running quarterback, right? He's a dual threat guy. Not saying he's a run first guy, but he's a guy that throughout his career has made a lot of really good plays running the football. So I think that's kind of where they're going. They just want to secure up that line up front. Like, obviously, I think Membu's a great pick. It just in the first round in general. I don't think it's a bad pick at all. That's why I'm leaving the good bow tie on. I think that any offensive lineman pretty high up here, especially for a running scheme like that, if that's what they're going to go and do, I think is a fantastic pick, right? We know they have Garrett Wilson, but it's one of those things like, yeah, you could have added a guy like McMillan here, right? Or like another receiver that you would have wanted, again, the sexy pick, right? But I think that this helps your franchise in equally, the same way, right? Garrett Wilson, we know he's going to be fine. He's going to get open. But it's just, we're trying to make things more comfortable for Justin, because Justin, he's not had success his entire career throwing the ball. So let's make sure that the thing that he does do well with running, he is able to do well pretty much every single time he is attempting it, right? So I think they're kind of just playing to their strengths a little bit here. And is Justin the answer? Probably not. But I think Membu's going to be a great, tackle moving forward for the rest of his career. We'll see what happens, of course. He's very talented. He has the potential to be that guy, and he's got the potential to be a cornerstone for this team. So I really like the pick, and I think Jets got a good one.
Number 8, we have Carolina picking, bringing the good bow tie back. Teteroa McMillan, the number 1 wide receiver in this draft, in my opinion, and goes in the top 10. Everyone didn't really know about this kid until Tanner found him a couple of years ago. So shout out Tanner on finding him, and that's why you watch this show, because Tanner knows all, and sometimes I throw some stuff in there too. Easily good bow tie with Teteroa McMillan. Yeah. Not even close. Best wide receiver in this draft. I would put him in between Mike Evans and I don't know who else, but this guy can go up and get the ball. He's going to high point the ball, and he's a not necessarily a deep threat, more of a red zone threat that you have for me, but anything on the sideline, anything jump ball and catch, it's going to be his. Mm-hmm. So I can't wait to see how he translates in the NFL. But good bow tie, big time for me. And Bryce Young has his new number 1 wide receiver.
Yep, I love the pick as well. Not too much on this. I mean, I've loved McMillan pretty much since he's been playing at Arizona. I've been watching him for a while, and he's just a phenom. So I think he's going to slot right in and be that number 1 receiver, like you said, next to Xavier Legette, who had a great start to his career, and Adam Thielen. I think he's coming back. And Adam Thielen, who kind of came on towards the end of that last season, and it's just bang, he's got a lot of really good players to learn from, and obviously he has his skills of his own. So I think Carolina is slowly but sneakily getting better and getting back to kind of what we expect them to be.
And shout out to Xavier Legette for being the NFL's guy or whatever at the Kentucky Derby. That was
it's awesome. That, I love this guy.
Boots on the ground, literally. This guy eats raccoons, rides horses, shirtless. This is just a sick individual, and a guy that if I wasn't, I lived in Texas for 20 plus years, and I didn't ride a whole lot of horses. But if I did, this is a guy I would want to ride a horse with. So
he's got a
shout
career.
Out Carolina, and you're right, dude. Bryce Young toward the end of the season was looking pretty good, mm-hmm. And so I'm really interested to see how they keep going. But a team that is not looking so good the New Orleans Saints. They
Ooh.
draft my guy. I keep the good bow tie on for this one because
Yeah,
this is
of
my number
course.
2 offensive tackle, Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas. No one really knows what's going on in New Orleans right now. I don't even think New Orleans does, but solid pick nonetheless for me. Pretty good one, right? Like you said, top 10 pick, offensive tackle. You got to get it, right?
Yeah, I like it a lot. If this had been Membu in this spot, I think I would have given a bow tie if these two picks were switched. I like the players, and they're not picked that far apart. So in my opinion, it's not too big of a reach, regardless of where you had either of them. So it's just kind of preference at this point. Obviously, the Jets got to pick their guy first, though. But yeah, man, obviously there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the quarterback situation with New Orleans right now. Is it going to be what's his name, Tyler Shuck or whatever, or is Aaron Rodgers going to pull a switcheroo and go over to New Orleans? Is it one of those type situations? I don't know. Who cares though? Let's figure out the offensive line, and whoever's going back there hopefully doesn't get hit in like a half second. It's just, let's protect whoever is going back there because we know there's going to be some uncertainty. So let's just make sure everything else is figured out because Derek Carr decided to drop a bomb on us after the NFL draft. But obviously they had a little bit of knowledge, prior. So they were able to prepare a little bit, but, it's going to be an interesting situation to see if any of these quarterbacks can kind of show up for New Orleans in this upcoming season. Who's starting? I don't know. We're going to find out to the training camp, but let's make sure that all the other variables are kind of controlled and that they have wide receivers. Fine. They're good on wide receivers. They don't need anyone, right? Offensive linemen, we could take a couple. We could take a couple. So you can never have enough. So I like the pick, man, and just give a young quarterback stability. That's the best thing he needs. Same argument with Drake May. Same argument with Joe Burrow when he was young. Same argument with C.J. Stroud, even in this part of his career. You see how a bad offensive line, no offense, can kind of derail a season a little bit. So you don't want that happening to New Orleans.
Number 10, we have the Chicago Bears. I've got a bad bow tie going, mainly because of the other tight end that was available, Mr. Warren out of Penn State. The Bears go Colston Loveland, the tight end out of Michigan. Like I said, the only reason that I got bad bow tie here is because I think Tyler Warren is a literal George Kittle 2.0, and I think they missed the wide receiver here. But I love the idea of continuing to add more offensive pieces with Chicago, and especially a tight end that's going to be your quarterback's, safety blanket. Not necessarily like a bad pick, kind of the same thing as Membu for the Jets, but it's just one of those things where there was a better guy on the board, in my opinion. So Chicago's got a bad bow tie for me on this one. What do you got on this pick?
From what I've seen, at least, this is kind of indicating that I think Chicago's going to run the ball a little bit. I think this guy is absolutely a big component in the run game. Not saying they sold their they've shown their hand a little bit, but Chicago is it's like, okay, what are we going to do with Caleb Williams? Okay, let's just run the football. Let's just make it easy. Let's just run the football. I think that's the plan with Ben Johnson moving forward. Obviously, you saw a lot of that with Detroit last season and when Ben Johnson was that offensive coordinator. So now he's the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and he's like, we are running the rock. We're going to pound the rock, and we're going to make Caleb play off of play action. And that's exactly what it looks like they're doing in this year's draft, and I think that's a great idea. Now, obviously, I think he's not, as dynamic, I don't think as Tyler Warren is as a pass catcher, but I think that for all intents and purposes of what they want to do, I think it's a good pick here. And to be honest, I don't really think Chicago needs another pass catcher. I think that this is the better pick in terms of the tight end. So I like it. This is a guy that kind of jumped up through draft stocks towards the kind of the very end of the draft process and just jumping up through draft boards. And we didn't talk about him as much as I think we should have, but I like the pick, man. I'm going to keep the good bow tie on. I think it fits their system really well. And that's kind of what I was looking for with this pick. So it could have been Tyler Warren, but I don't know. I just, these guys, both of them are so good. Like, how do you, it depends on what you want to run.
In my opinion, dude, I got Tyler Warren like levels above Colston Loveland, like levels above him. But in my opinion, again, I have Tyler Warren rated like in my top 5, and just talking about Tyler Warren, the bad bow tie falls off. That's all the proof you need. It's in the pudding right there. That's all you need. For me, I understand it, but like that argument is like taking a slot wide receiver in the top 15. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that? Why would you take a blocking tight end at pick 10? Well, because we're going to run the ball, and that's what we're going to do. And oh, by the way, he can also catch passes too. So it's like I get the pick, But that's kind of why I'm on the bad side. But hey,
It's not sexy. I mean, it's the same argument as taking an offensive lineman, at pick whatever, right? It's like, yeah, sure, offensive lineman, they can transform your franchise, but so can tight ends too. They're doing a lot of dirty work in a lot of similar ways. So I think, historically, tight ends have not gone very high unless your name is, oh my gosh, the guy out of Atlanta.
Eric Ebron.
I mean, yes, but a guy out of
Clark
Atlanta.
Bowers.
Yes, but
Kyle Pitts.
Kyle Pitts. That's number 4 overall. That's what I was thinking of. But he's kind of that pass catching tight end, and maybe our teams are a little scared of that nowadays. I'll say this is closer to a bad bow tie pick, but I do like the pick, man. I think he's gonna be real. I think he's gonna be a good blocker, and if he turns into a fantastic blocker and the pass catching comes later, I mean, no one's gonna say that this is a bad pick. A couple years down the line, they got their guy, and if this is the tight end they want over Tyler Warren, and like they're positive this is their guy, I think it's a good pick in this situation. Even if you quote unquote like reached a couple picks, because Tyler Warren goes like 4 or 5 picks later. So I think I like the pick, man.
Number 11, we got the San Francisco 49ers taking Mikael Williams, the edge out of Georgia. This is the guy that flew up draft boards the most for me. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's hard to sit here and say it's going to be a bad bow tie with him, because how in the heck could you say that with his rise? And also, if you just look at how he played in the college football playoff, he quite literally almost won Georgia some games there. Like he was the best player on the field at the biggest time. And he went to Georgia, and he's a stupid good recruit, and he started over all the other guys at Georgia. So look at Philly. They built their entire defense off it. Good bow tie for me at pick number 11, Mikael Williams out of Georgia to San Francisco.
Yeah, we'll keep it simple. Yeah, I think he's going to succeed in a San Francisco 49er system that kind of makes pass rushers look like Jesus. So I think he's going to do just fine. He's got obviously the skills and the talents and the traits to be able to compete at this level. So I think a good coaching system is just going to make him kind of at home over there in San Fran, and he's going to get a lot of reps opposite of Mr. Bosa. So I like the pick.
Number 12, we had the Dallas Cowboys take the first guard of the draft, Tyler Booker out of Alabama. Notice the good bow ties are staying on. We are happy with the Cowboys pick. Like Tanner said, not sexy at all. But when you have Zach Martin retire literally days before the draft, well, you got to get a guard. And that's what Dallas did. There is definitely a wide receiver that was sitting there. There was definitely a tight end that was sitting there. There was a couple defensive linemen that were sitting there that would have been real nice to see with that Cowboy star. But Tyler Booker's a mauler and a great, arguably best guard in this draft, unless you're going to kick Kelvin Banks into the guard position, in my opinion. But to me, it was one of those picks where it's like, I'm not sad, not doing a victory lap like when we got CD. Like, can you imagine, like, Dallas? Like, we take the Dallas Cowboys take Emeka Ibuka. I'd be like, bro. Bro, we got Emeka Ibuka. Or, like, Tyler Warren. I'd be like, dude, come on now. But good bow tie for me because you need help in this division against defensive lines. We literally talked about New York. Philly just won the freaking Super Bowl, and Washington is getting nothing but better. So, yeah, guard's a good idea for me.
You have an all-time, Hall of Fame cornerstone. I mean, can you call him a cornerstone? He's a guard. I guess, in the middle cornerstone, franchise player, we'll put it like that, with Zach Martin retiring this offseason.
More Pro Bowls than holding calls in his freaking career. Go ahead.
If you don't know who this man is, you do now. Yeah, just go look up some tape, and you'll see why he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion, and I think the opinion of pretty much everyone else out there. So, big shoes to fill, that's goes without saying, but it's a position that you needed to figure out right away, because I think Dallas is in a time right now where we're kind of transitioning with the offensive line. The old guard is officially out with Zach Martin leaving. That all of them are all gone. Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, Travis Frederick, all these guys, Doug Free, all gone.
Remember Doug Free? Doug Free with that farmer's truck, dude. Course, what a legend! We saw your truck, Doug Free. It had the little thing for the, like, you put a trailer on with the farm, and just a flat board in the back. God.
I know. We walked by and be like, "Dang, yep. I think I know whose that is."
We're like, there's no way. We're like, there's no way. And then we watched him get in and drive. We're like, no shit. That's okay. Car. Good for Doug Free.
It's kind of cool that you can walk by all those players' cars, by the way. Just a little side note. I don't know if other stadiums are like that. Probably.
Well, And real quick, sorry, back at the old stadium, they didn't even have it like it was just in the parking lot. Like they didn't even have like carts around it. That's back in the day when I was just going up and going to everybody. Like, you know, Witten's autograph 6 times. You know what I mean? Got Romo's autograph everywhere. It's like, oh, those were the days. But yeah, no, we walked by from our parking lot that we were at, and we would see those cars too. And there's some pretty solid ones in there.
Yeah, you can always be like, oh well, that's CD. Like it's like, oh,
there's Dax.
There's Dax car. Oh, that's Dez's car. Oh, that's a nice one. You know, it's
Dez
like
freaking whips, dude.
Yeah, and then you know you got, I don't know what Dan Bailey was driving back in those days, but it's probably like a 2007 Toyota
Kia
Corolla.
Soul.
Kia. Oh, that's gross. Don't do Dan like that, man. He's not driving a Kia Soul.
They gave me a freaking Kia Soul when I got one of my car door got hit. It just stopped working, and they were like, I was like, do you guys got like anything else? They were like, and in this price range, it's the only one. Green Kia Soul.
Like
I drove around for a week, dude. I was scared. I was legitimately scared. I'm like, if I go out in this car, like people are gonna be like, what is this guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyways, I hope Dan Bailey's not driving a Kia Soul. That would make me think less of him. Sorry, y'all. But I just anyways, it does. Great hamster commercial. Great shout out. I forgot about that. Those guys were bumping. Love Tyler Booker, man. I think he's going to be a great player. And I honestly want to raise a question, too. I've heard a little bit about him being potentially moved to center for the Cowboys. And I don't really want that to happen because I like Cooper Beebe. I thought everyone was high on Cooper Beebe. I thought the Cowboys liked him. I thought that was going to be the option moving forward. But I mean, did we not just get rid of, the guy who went to Washington, who's their center now, with Biotish? Like, I thought Cooper Beebe was the answer. You know, obviously, we'll see what happens. We'll see how he plays. We'll see where he plays best at. But and Dallas is kind of notorious for moving these guys around. But I would like to keep him. I'd like to keep him at guard. To be honest with you, I want to keep him as that. I want to keep him there. I want to, kind of shore up like half of the offensive line. Don't move. Stop moving. I just want him to sit. Right. So.
And not to mention another Tyler added.
The wall of Tyler.
Question, like you said. What?
The wall of Tylers.
The wall of Tylers. Yeah. The wall of Tylers.
I want them to go to Tyler, Texas and take a picture.
The Great Wall of Tyler.
The Great Wall of Tyler.
The Great Wall of Tyler. So that's freaking solid. Okay. Tylers. Moving on to the 13th overall pick, we have the actual Dolphins now. Nice job. Kenneth Grant, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. Short and simple. Second best defensive tackle, and the fact you're getting him at 13. Yeah. Keep it going there, Dolphins. I'm going to keep good bow tie on for this one.
Yeah, real simple. You remember that Ohio State game that they didn't win this past season? That was him. Period. That's why. He was just sitting there the entire time, just right in the middle, just being like, hey, You're not going to be able to run the ball. Can't do anything. Judkins, Henderson, sorry. Will Howard, you're on the ground. So that's kind of that was that game. And he single-handedly won it on like a kind of okay Michigan team from this past season. So I think give him a lot of credits against the national champions and completely shutting down their entire offense single-handedly. So kudos to him. I think he deserves it. Great bow tie.
A guy that won a lot of games. Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State, goes to the Indianapolis Colts. Great bow tie. This one for me, again, he's my number one tight end. He's quite literally George Kittle 2.0. I hate to tell you this, Tanner, but he likes to block too. That's the other big reason why I'm just like, why would you not take Tyler Warren? But hey, if you want someone for the Indianapolis Colts to figure out if Anthony Richardson can throw the pigskin or not, go ahead and add the best tight end in the draft. I did not think he'd be there at 14. Great bow tie. And times are maybe looking up in Indianapolis. I don't know. Probably not. But you got a good bow tie there. Good job, Indy.
They got Danny Dimes. Over there in Indy. All right.
Still not looking up.
Hey, we got Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. All right. These guys are going to lead the Indianapolis Colts to the 4th spot in the AFC South. I'm taking the Jaguars at number 3, like one of those. But I like the pick, obviously. I think it's gonna turn out well. You saw what Brock Bowers did. Like we said, we talked about tight ends. They can transform the team. And like I was saying, just throwing it out there too. From ESPN. He finished his career as the program leader in total touchdowns, receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns among tight ends. So he's pretty good at this whole football thing. But absolutely great bow tie. I kind of agree with you. I would have liked to see him go a little bit earlier. Just this is kind of a little bit of a fall for me. I could have seen him going in the top 10. Obviously where Colston went, 100%. But I think I think we got to wait until see how Colston plays out to see if he's, if it really was that much of a bad pick. So that'll be a storyline in this draft for sure. I'm curious to see how it ends up. Love the pick, man. Tyler Warren's a beast.
Number 15, we're going to be going a little bit quicker here, folks, because this is 15 and on. Jalen Walker, we've got the linebacker out of Georgia.
Good bow tie.
That goes to Atlanta. Yeah, easy, good bow tie. Again, you're adding a Georgia Bulldog, and he plays linebacker or defensive end. Sounds good. You know what I mean? Not much on your side on that one.
No, Atlanta needs linebackers. They need a lot of help on defense. Not really in the secondary, but definitely on that second level. And linebackers right there. And I think he's going to be a great kind of guy who's just able to do kind of a lot of things in that second level, and maybe obviously rush the passer. He excelled at that, so he's going to be a guy who's going to do a lot of stuff for him. I think Atlanta got a home run pick.
Number 16, you have the Cardinals taking a defensive tackle, Walter Nolan, Ole Miss. The defensive tackles for this class for me are really good, so that's why I'm going to keep a good bow tie here. I honestly would have liked to see, literally, this is where Emeka Ibuka goes. Mm-hmm. This is where he goes. Pair him up with Marvin Harrison Jr. and just let those two ride with Kyler. That's what I would have done personally.
Ohio State.
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's there was just so many stars aligned there, but they didn't do it. I'm going to keep the good bow tie on though, because that is a pick of need. That's exactly what that is a pick of need, and they got gashed on the run last year a lot. So that's why they do it. Looks like your good bow tie is still on. All right, we are pick 16, and Tanner's good bow tie has not come off yet, folks. Why did he bring the bad one? Who knows?
We'll get there. Don't you worry. A lot of good picks. Obviously, I like to pick as well. I think it's pretty much what you said. I think he comes from a big time program with Ole Miss, and I think that he's going to be able to produce in a position of need, like you said. I would just continue to draft defense for these guys. I think offensively, they're really good. Like last year, the Cardinals showed me they do need some more, but I think offensively they showed me that they're a lot further along than I expected them to be, especially in the offensive line category, the running category, just like in the trenches. How could I forget?
Out of nowhere, dude, out of nowhere.
Yeah, so it's last year the Cardinals showed that I think that they can compete, especially in the division that they're in, which is a very, very good one. And there's a lot of
Kyler's good.
Guess what? There's a lot of running backs in that division. So that's kind of a whole, I think that's kind of like a counter pick to the whole, Kyren Williams thing that's going on, over in LA and all the things that they got going on in that division. So I like the pick a lot. And I think they'll continue to hopefully go defense. I think the Cardinals need a little bit more defense. Got some aging guys, we've seen some players kind of leave there and just not really been replaced that well. So I like it a lot.
Good bow tie. Shout out Texas A&M, Gigmag, Shamar Stewart, the edge out of Texas A&M goes. A lot of people thought Nick Scorton was going to go here, but Shamar shot up draft boards, and a lot of people are going to be saying it's a bad bow tie. But for me, look at who left Cincinnati. Look at who's still being held out in Cincinnati right now in terms of contracts. So easily a very, very big position of need when your number one defensive end is just not there right now. So
exactly,
Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M, good bow tie.
Yeah, one is not there and the other one is retired. So they needed to go pass rusher here. And, if you want to go Texas A&M, they have a good, reputation of throwing out pass rushers. Don't scout the helmet, but I like Shamar, and I think that he's got a lot of talent, but it's just a lot of raw talent. He's got the ability to get to the passer, and he's just started to come on a little bit towards the end of last year, but it's just a guy that I want to see get some reps, get more practice. I think time will tell if this is a good pick. I'm going to leave it on because I'm biased for Texas A&M. You see Johnny up there kind of hanging out, but it's one of those things. I like the player, and I'm always going to root for him. So I like the pick, and I think the Bengals got a fantastic player with Shamar, and we'll see if he plays with the whole holdout thing. I didn't even know rookies could do that, but hopefully he plays, and I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, interesting tactic there, Mr. Shamar. But last thing I want to say about him is my notes I have on him is he has the highest motor in the draft. So for me, that's kind of exactly what you want is you have that motor. Number 18, you have the Seattle Seahawks taking the second best offensive guard in my opinion, Gray Zabel the offensive guard out of North Dakota State. That's right, North Dakota State continues to just throw in these random players. Carson Wentz, it seemed like was the first guy years ago, and then they just keep going. But for me, I did watch a couple games from North Dakota State, 4 specifically with 4 of his best games, and he looked solid in those games. Now, every time you're playing at a school like North Dakota State, it's like, what's the competition? What's the competition? What's the competition? So for me, he excelled, and he pancaked a lot of guys that were bigger than him, which I didn't know was even possible on the offensive side. So easily another good bow tie for me from the Seattle Seahawks at number 18.
Yeah, absolutely. What you want to see out of a guy who's kind of at these smaller schools, these like lesser known schools, the schools that are not as big time, they don't get the spotlight nearly as much, is you want to see him dominate. You want to see him be able to destroy people and make them look like, children, and make it look like it's a high school team going up against a Pee Wee football team. And I think that's exactly what he did throughout his career.
Make it look like me practicing in 8th grade against the A team. Yeah. Shout out Steven. You know what I mean? Steven just cooked my ass in basketball. Shout out Steven, man.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where you're like, all right, I think he meets kind of every kind of whatchamacallit. It meets every category. He meets every criteria, and I think he just excels in it. So I like to pick keeping the good bow tie on. We are at pick, what is this, 18 with some good bow ties.
And pick number 19, you're not taking it off either, because it's another Ohio State Buckeye, goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Emeka Ibuka. The Buccaneers were like, yeah, we got Godwin, man, we got Mike Evans. Why the fuck not bring in another one? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Emeka Ibuka in Tampa? Are you kidding me?
This is surprising, to be honest with you. I don't know if they needed another receiver, but
why not?
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. I think that kid that came on towards the end of the last year, who's great with Baker. I don't remember his name. Fantasy players obviously
doesn't matter anymore.
He's not playing.
We'll be seeing you.
I thought he played well, but Ibuka is going to be excellent as the number 3, and that's excellent. I think he's going to get a lot of plays, and Ohio State knows how to make them, so I think he's going to get open, and perfect system. Baker's going to destroy his head with the bullets that he delivers.
And another great pick that I think was a bit of a sleeper is a cornerback that goes. First cornerback that goes.
Mm-hmm.
At the University of Texas, Jadahe Barron goes to the Denver Broncos. Remember who's won like the Defensive Player of the Year like the past 4 years, it seems like, is Pat Surtain, right? Mm-hmm. So they already have arguably the best cornerback in the league. Oh, by the way, he's not even 30. And now they got the best cornerback in this draft just sitting there at pick 20 and not moving. Sean Payton, great pick, great bow tie. Keep it going, Denver. Keep it going.
Denver has turned into the no-fly zone. I mean, when he got drafted, I was like, wait a minute. Didn't they just win the Defensive Player of the Year with a cornerback with Pat Surtain? So he's I love the pick, man. I think Denver's just getting stronger. The best way to kind of help your young quarterback is, yes, offensive line. We talked about it, but the other thing is just get a good defense. The more times he has the ball, the better. And if he's good, which Bo Nix is, I think that you're gonna just have the ability to get the ball in his hands more, the ability to control the game more. And, if you can't go to either side, it's like, okay, there's Pat Surtain. I'm not throwing to his side. Okay, well, I got a guy on the other side too, man. I don't know what the fuck.
Going to the slot.
Yeah, going to the slot. Dink and dunk is kind of what you're forcing other teams to do. And he's physical too. He plays so well, just on a lot of, I like this player, man. It's a great pick. So bow tie stays on, man. We run it. We run it.
Pick 21. We've got the Steelers take Derek Harmon, the defensive tackle out of Oregon. No shot the good bow tie's coming off on Tanner's side. Not coming up on my side either, because
it's not coming off the next pick either, man.
Pittsburgh. Dude, it's just such a Pittsburgh pick.
I know it is.
Defensive tackle.
It's great.
Now from Oregon, I don't know, maybe Mass or something like that, some school that's cold, and you're like, why did he go there? You know what I mean? Buffalo, some shit like that. But that's, dude, Derek Harmon. I mean, you can't go wrong if you're getting the fourth best defensive tackle in the draft. Sorry, the fourth best defensive tackle in the draft at pick 21. But this is, the Steelers made a literal Super Bowl dynasty with Big Ben, obviously, with a bunch of great receivers. We won't even get into all those guys with Hines Ward and Antonio Brown, all those guys. But their defensive line and their defense, specifically their defensive line, just destroyed people. We're talking Cameron Hayward, prime Cameron Hayward. Mm-hmm. This is a team that builds from the defensive interior and goes out and just mauls you. So Big time good bow tie for me with the Pittsburgh Steelers at pick 21, taking Derek Harmon, again, the defensive tackle out of Oregon.
Yeah, so they the Pittsburgh Steelers run a 3-4, so they're going to have that 3 defensive linemen, and then the 4 at the back, right? So with the linebackers kind of coming over top. So it's one of those things where it's like you can kind of do whatever you want with those linebackers behind, but you want a guy who's going to kind of sit there and be a guy that's just going to be a big body in the middle of that offensive or defensive line, and it has the ability to kind of move outside and move kind of on the outer of the interior defensive lineman and I think Derek Harmon's going to be excellent at that. I think he can kind of go on the outside if he needs. We have TJ Watt on this roster. We have, like you said, Cam Hayward, not in his prime, but he's still a fantastic player. Alex Highsmith. And I think he's just going to fit in right with those guys. It's going to be hard not to double team TJ Watt pretty much every single play that he's playing. So it's just going to open up a lot of opportunities for this guy. And he's very talented. And he's just long and lanky, and he's able to kind of squeeze in between those guys. So I think it's a great pick. And he's going to learn from 2 Hall of Famers with Cameron Hayward and TJ Watt. And he's just going to be like, hey, what do I do in this situation? And just a plethora of knowledge that he's just going to learn from in a great Steelers organization and culture. So I think it's a great pick, and I think he's going to succeed for a long time.
At pick 22, the Los Angeles Chargers needed a running back, and they take a running back. They take Omarion Hampton, the running back out of North Carolina. Very interested to see kind of how he projects and how he goes in the NFL, because I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of his coming out of college. But for me, if you're getting the second best running back in the 20s, that's value. And that's just great value in my opinion. So great pick there. Good bow tie stays on for me.
Good bow tie stays on. I really like this pick. I think Hampton's obviously we have John T. Like he's the guy in this draft. Like he's the running back. He's going to be remembered as like the number 1 running back. This is his draft. But I feel like Hampton, he kind of shot up draft boards towards the end of the season, and he's just a guy that has home run speed. He can do so much, and on a UNC roster that's just like, okay, post Drake May era, let's go, let's do some stuff. Speed, speed, go to the end zone. Like he's just gone. So I like it a lot. I think he adds that other element that the Chargers really needed. They bring in Najee Harris in the offseason. Obviously the power's there, but you've turned Najee Harris into kind of a change of pace kind of back. And I think that Hampton's going to be that number 1 come the season opener. I think he just has so much energy, and I think he has the ability to kind of wear down defenses. And guess what? We got Najee Harris coming in the red zone in the 3rd quarter. In the 4th quarter, you're not stopping him. He's just going to bulldoze right through when you're tired after Hampton runs for 150 yards, So I think Harbaugh has his guy. We thought it was these free agency guys that they bring in. Oh, let's see what, this person can do. This person can do. Harbaugh drafted a guy that he really likes and is going to start in this system. So I like this pick a lot. And Chargers are running the football, man. They're going to be a big bruising team, I think, come this next season. We saw what they could do with it last year, but now they have the pieces to do it, and they've got their guys. So I love this pick. I like this pick a lot. Going to 23.
Gonna keep the good bow tie on at 23 because
how do I take it off? How am I supposed to take this bow tie off?
You can't, because Matthew Golden out of Texas, the first wide receiver the Packers have drafted in it seems like 50 years.
Yeah.
Like that was just such a perfect storm right there that they had. So for me, good bow tie and probably one of the best like intros in the draft in ever, and him just walking around, loving the crowd, going around and everything.
So
good
cool.
show. And Matthew Golden is nasty. This kid is speed. So big time help there in Green Bay, and Jordan Love needs a number 1. What do you have on this pick?
Fantastic pick. Obviously, we've been waiting for this for the past 20 years. As soon as Aaron Rodgers leaves, they just rip it and they're like, hey, Matthew Gold, how would you like to play with Jordan Love? Obviously I like Jordan. I think he's excellent, and I think Golden is just going to fit in like a glove. And we need more of these guys. We need more of these guys who are going to go up and just be athletic and be able to figure out whatever the heck Jordan's going to throw to him, and I think this guy is just going to be excellent at this. He has an ability to get open, which is just like, where the heck you watch those, how he played for Texas this past year, and, before he got injured in the postseason, and it's like, dang, dude, like this team is clearly different without him on the field, like clearly a worse team offensively without Golden on the field. And I think that just shows you how good of a player, like what he brings to the table in terms of in the eyes of the defense. So I think they got a great player here. And I think him and Jordan Love are going to be connecting for the next 4, 5, maybe 10 years.
And at pick 24, we have the Minnesota Vikings taking Donovan Jackson, the offensive guard out of Ohio State. He was my third-ranked offensive guard here, and the fact that he's sitting there at 24 is another value pick. Good bow tie is going to stay on for me, going to stay on for Tanner. We're going to go to the next pick because this is the one I'm interested in if it's going to stay on for him. This is where it's going to fall off if it comes off. At pick 25, the New York Football Giants take Jackson Dart, the quarterback out of Ole Miss. Do you keep the good bow tie on, or do you put on a bad bow tie?
I think I keep the good bow tie on.
Damn it!
I like it.
thought that one was going to stump you.
I don't know. Continue, please.
Look. The whole Shedeur Sanders thing, the whole everything that happened, and the fact that the Giants just sat there and picked their guy. I'm going to put a good bow tie on.
I like it.
I'm going to keep it on. Now, the thing with Jackson Dart for me, he was not a first-round quarterback. He wasn't for me. He was not a number one. So you would think that the bad bow tie would immediately come on. Well, when you're in that bad of a position of need in terms of where the Giants are at, you kind of have to take one. And the fact that they didn't wait till the second round showed me that they got a little bit of cojones going. So for me, that's why I like the Giants. Let me rephrase that. I hate the Giants. I like this pick by the Giants. Let me rephrase that. I dislike the Giants. I don't hate the Giants. You haven't done enough for me to hate you recently. The Eagles? Yeah, we could talk about it. Washington? You guys are just cool. You know what I mean? Jackson Dart, Ole Miss quarterback. Maybe he's the guy for the future, but we'll see. I'm going to keep the good bow tie on. Tanner's keeping it on as well. What do you got on this pick? And then after this next pick, it's going to be quick. We're just going to go real fast.
Yeah, I mean, with Jackson, it's in my eyes, he was.
What'd you see? What'd you see from him? Because you watched a lot of SEC football. What'd you see from this guy?
He was the second best quarterback in my opinion. I don't think Shedeur was that far behind with him. We talked about it in the before the draft started. I just like his tenacity. I like his ability to kind of come back in games. Yes, he had a couple games where it was like, what is going on? But
got away from him.
It got away from him, but I think with this kind of system that he's running in Ole Miss, I like his ability to transition to the NFL and to a pro style. I think he has the ability, Ole Miss was relying on him to win these games, right? This was Jackson Dart's team when he was playing for Ole Miss, and he was the guy making the big throws. I mean, just go look at some of those throws that he's making in those big moments. I mean, he's playing in the toughest division in the NCAA, so I'm not saying that he's, going to be a slam dunk guy, but I like the pick here, and I think the reason that they go up and trade up for him is because Cleveland made that trade at the beginning of the draft that we remember, and Cleveland was sitting at number 1 in the second round, and New York was behind Cleveland. New York was behind them. They had to jump over Cleveland to make this, so they had to jump back into the first round because I think this would have been Cleveland's pick. I think this would have been Cleveland's pick if he was available.
Falcons are like, we want him. No, guys.
Stop. No, don't stop. So I like it. I like him. Maybe some people were like, why is it not Shedeur? Oh my God. I thought it was Shedeur when they traded up for him, but I like that it's Jackson. I think he's going to be a better project, and he's going to get to learn from Jameis. He's going to get to learn from Russell Wilson and Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets. I mean, come on. How can you not say he's not going to be great? I like it. He just fits like a New York guy, and from what I've looked at so far, he's looking pretty good. So I like Jackson. I was a little disappointed when the Giants took him. I'm like, dang it, Giants are kind of having a good draft. So I like the pick a lot, and the good bow tie stays on.
At pick 26, the Falcons came in and took another defensive player, James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee, the edge. The fact that he stayed there till 26 is incredible to me. Tanner's keeping on the good bow tie. I'm keeping on the good bow tie. Then another one we have to hit real quick. Malachi Starks, the safety out of Georgia, goes to freaking Baltimore.
What a Baltimore pick, by the way.
That is such a Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City pick at the end of the first round. Great bow tie. Mm-hmm. The best safety. Oh, and by the way, you're forgetting who they have back there.
Yeah.
Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah, they already have
best young safety in the game, in my opinion.
He's already so good, yeah.
Yeah, what do you mean? Ravens like, Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. We're going to bring in Roquan Smith, and we're going to draft Malachi Starks. Well, fuck me, Baltimore. My God. They're just going, and they just keep going. So, hey, Lamar, keep doing what you're doing.
Their secondary was the reason that they kind of fell off a little bit last year, and I think that they completely just, all right, we understand, we get it. Malachi Starks.
Malachi Starks. I mean, just what a pick. Okay. Yeah, literally, duh. At 28, we've got Tyreek Williams, a defensive tackle at Ohio State. Shout out Tanner. Shout out OHIO. Then we have at 29, Josh Cornerly Jr., the offensive tackle out of Oregon. He wasn't a first-round graded offensive tackle for me, but I'm going to keep on the good bow tie anyway because you're helping Jane Daniels out. And why the heck wouldn't you do that?
Sure.
Then we have a cornerback. Look, I am never, ever going to say it's a bad bow tie pick with Buffalo or Kansas City and now freaking Philly at the end of the first round. So it's staying on for me for the rest of the draft.
I like Hairston.
Maxwell Hairston.
I like this pick.
The cornerback out of Kentucky. Tanner likes this pick. Tanner, why do you like this pick?
Well, he's just an energy guy. I mean, you look at the drafts, and this guy is like high-fiving every single first-round pick that comes through before his name is called.
That was him.
And it's like, dang, that's like so cool. He's gonna.
Positive vibes.
I like the vibes, you know, and I think that's just a very good character thing to do at the draft. And he's already showing you that he's going to be an excellent locker room guy. He's going to be a perfect guy for Buffalo, by the way, who is just team first. You know, we are this team. It's no individual. So I like it, man. Obviously, they've had some
tables. Tables are first, team second.
Sure. Sure. But this guy's going to be a great character guy for this team. And obviously, you know, they've had some struggles with cornerbacks. I mean, they've traded one of the Cowboys. You know, we've had some, you know, what's his name? What is his name? Tre'Davious White, you know, obviously is not the Tre'Davious White of old. I like how you knew exactly what I was talking about. And he's not like Buffalo's defense is like, oh, we got the defensive line. We got some linebackers. Who the heck is over there in the secondary? You know, it's like you get rid of Micah Hyde. You get rid of, again, I just don't. Obviously, Kyer Elam over to the Cowboys. But
come on, man. Kyer Elam.
Micah Hyde and then the other safety that they got rid of. What's his name?
Yeah. I know who you're talking about, but I don't got it right now.
Dang it. But a lot of departures in the last couple of years for the Buffalo Bills. Just a lot of cornerstones, a lot of franchise.
Taylor Rapp's in Buffalo now, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he?
I think he is, but Taylor Rapp is no like Micah Hyde.
It's not the guy you're talking about, but I can see his freaking number. That's what's pissing me off.
Well, yeah, because it was those two back there for so many years, and they were excellent. Yeah. But obviously they're gone now, so you know they need to reload. I like to pick. Hairston's a pure vibes guy. Love the vibes.
The Eagles take Jahad Campbell, another SEC guy, linebacker.
This is ridiculous.
Hopefully he's not good. Just kidding. He's really good.
This is ridiculous.
And then the Kansas City Chiefs go out there and take a first-round offensive tackle at 30-2 with Josh Simmons out of Ohio State to protect.
H.
There we go.
Come on, boys.
Tanner's feeling it right now. Okay. That is good bow tie, bad bow tie. Tanner said, I don't even care about the bad bow tie. I got the good bow tie on. We're rocking. We're rolling. We got.
How can you look at all these picks and be like, yeah, this is like a dog shit pick? Like it's not. We're not looking at like the Gruden led Raiders, and he's just picking like whoever no one you've ever seen before in the first round.
The kicker.
But that was a good pick.
In retrospect, it wasn't bad.
It was a good pick. I mean, he's a great pick. I'll say.
Yeah, wasn't bad. Wasn't bad in retrospect. Okay.
Goskowski, right? That was his name.
Steven Goskowski.
Goskowski, yeah.
Big bastard.
I love him.
Big bastard.
He's great.
He's a kicker. All right, here we go.
So many Owskis.
NBA playoffs.
Kicker. Sorry, Janikowski. Anyways.
What?
So there's a lot of Owskis with kickers. Janikowski.
Oh.
He's a kicker,
Speaking of kickers, Justin Tucker's a free agent.
Speaking of kickers, Justin Tucker might not have a job in the foreseeable future.
Crazy.
How does Deshaun Watson have a job and Justin doesn't? Anyways, let's move on to the NBA playoffs.
Oh, I could go so many ways with that, but I'm not going to. Don't want to get us a strike. Okay, we've got NBA. We've got the Pacers and Cavaliers. The Pacers are up 3-1. Oh, fuck you, Tanner. Then we have the Nuggets and the Thunder. The series is tied 2-2 on that one. We have the Knicks and the Celtics. Knicks are up 3-1. Worst news you could possibly get. That whole Tatum non-contact injury was horrible to watch. Then you have the Warriors and the Timberwolves. Should have been the freaking Lakers. The West semis there at 3-1 with the Timberwolves. But we're going to start it off with the Pacers and Cavaliers. And Tanner is the NBA guy. You're not going to hear me. You're just going to hear him. Tanner, take it away.
Start with Cleveland and the Pacers. So I just got a pop up on my computer about something about an HP printer. So if you saw that, that is me not connecting to whatever HP printer that is. I do believe it's the one next to me. But anyways, with the Cavaliers and the Indiana Pacers, Indiana has been playing fantastically throughout these playoffs, and if you've been watching them against the Bucks, you're like, "Dang, that was impressive." And then you're watching them against the Cavs, you're like, "Dang, that was impressive." I think the Cavs, you look at like game 2, right? You look at how they played without their starters, and you're like, "Yeah, it kind of makes sense." But like, Cavs have been throwing the Pacers a bone. I mean, in this series, you look at the stats, and if you were to switch the teams on these stats, I don't think anyone would be surprised saying like, "Oh yeah, Cleveland's up 3-1. They've been, they've had the better 3-point percentage. They've had the better field goal percentage throughout the series. They've been the more offensively dominant team." No, that is not the case. You flip everything on its head. Cleveland is they have not been playing offensively well in this series, and defensively, not great either. So I think the Pacers have kind of taken on this MO of just being this team first team, this team who's able to kind of any man's up, right? If you're in an opening position to shoot a three, shoot that three, you make it every single time. I think from beyond the arc, I think they've shot this ball fantastically throughout these playoffs, and that's kind of what you're hoping to fall, right? You want these big time players to play in these big time moments, and you look at the Indiana Pacers, and it's like, okay, big time players. You got Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, you throw Pascal Siakam in there, and it's like, okay, like Andrew Nembhard, like no, it's like these guys are not, NBA All Stars. But I think that's kind of the glory of the NBA playoffs, where it's like you don't have to have, Boston with Jason Tatum, with Jaylen Brown, Porzingis, and all these guys, six man of the year with, it's like you don't have to have all these stars. You don't have to have all these guys with awards to go out there and win a series if you're just playing team ball. I mean, you got like Miles Turner, who's like playing out of his mind in this series. Like I said, Andrew Nembhard. Like these guys are just playing fantastic basketball, and they're just doing every single thing the right way. They're making the right decisions. They're making the right passes, and they're playing good team basketball. And when they need it, Tyrese Halliburton delivers a dagger, and their big time star comes out in a big time moment. So that's, in my opinion, kind of what the Pacers are. And I like this team. I like the energy that they bring to every series, and I like what they've been doing. So the Cavs, notice how I haven't like talked about the Cavs at all, because I think that we need to give the Indiana Pacers their credit. Like, no, this isn't the Cavs just like being bad. No, I think the Pacers are just playing tremendous basketball right now. And like the Cavs, they've had their opportunities. I mean, they've pretty much every single game in this series except game 2, they've had all their starters in. And like game 2, they shouldn't have lost. Like we look back at that, they let up like a 20-point lead at the end of the game. It was pretty bad, and this series probably should be 2-2. But it's not. You let one get away from you at home. In the first game, game 1, you kind of got destroyed, right? So I would love to see, the Cavs go and win 3 straight. They've done it before with LeBron James, but again, that's LeBron James, And the status of Donovan Mitchell, I don't really know what's going on with him. He had that injury at the end of game 4, so no Donovan Mitchell. That means no Cavaliers for me. But I think the Pacers still win this series. Just looking at how they've played, man, and I think they go on to the Eastern Conference Finals, and heck, maybe they even play New York, which is kind of crazy. Let's move on to that series. You have any thoughts on the Cavs Pacers?
Keep it rolling, all you.
Oh man!
Shout out Halliburton's dad.
Oh, but that's a fiasco, by the way. Poor guy. He's just excited. It kind of
sucks. No, real quick for me, like I didn't anticipate Indiana even holding a candle with this Cleveland Cavaliers team because of how good Cleveland was in the regular season. But that's how much I don't know about this Indiana Pacers team. Like you said, not a ton of all-stars, not a ton of guys that I even really know other than Halliburton, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they're still here in like working the series, it's like, okay, all right, well, that's our bad. You know what I mean? That's our bad. So, yeah, let's see how far they make it, and let's see if they – I mean, with Tatum probably being out, like you said, you're going to hit that series now. I mean, them in New York, like that's a pretty solid finals, but like New York and Indiana, like New York's got to love their chances, but at the same time, so does Indiana.
Yeah, and kind of similar story with the Boston Celtics. I mean, in those first 2 games, like I don't think it might have been, I think it was a historic number of missed threes from the Boston Celtics, which is, if you remember last year, that's how they won a championship. That's the reason they have all these 3-point shooters. Derek White, like these guys just coming out of like and it's just like Derek White out of San Antonio, by the way. Nice shout out. But you got these guys that it's just like they can unleash it from anywhere on the court. And obviously you have all stars with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, but it's like, when the threes aren't falling for the stars and the backup, and not the backups, and the bench guys is a better way to put it, you're not going to win a whole lot of basketball games, man. Because New York, they're a good team, and you look at those first two games in New York having those two 20-point or 20, 25-point, something like that, double-digit comebacks at least, in those first two games in that series, and you're like, what the heck? This has never happened before. The Boston Celtics kind of being stunned a little bit in these games, and I mean, that's just the clutch player of the year, Jalen Brunson. The dude just excels in the fourth quarter. You can't let this game get close in the fourth quarter, or else Jalen Brunson is just going to go and just put up 40, And he's like, don't worry about it, man. I'm at the free throw line with a couple seconds left, and he's gonna make both of them every single time, So he's been fantastic. Karl-Anthony Towns has been fantastic. This whole team, Mikal Bridges has been fantastic. Like, this whole team has just been kind of built to beat the Boston Celtics, I think, a little bit in these crunch time situations. So I think they're excelling at it, obviously, with Jason Tatum and his kind of future in general just being uncertain with his ability to, obviously, he's done for the playoffs, but his ability next season is up for question as well, depending on how bad this injury is. So Boston Celtics take a massive injury. I don't know if Jaylen Brown is going to be able to get it done, especially with Porzingis not being playing with the past couple days. Again,
you got to win 3 in a row. No way.
You got to win 3 in a row. It's the same situation with the Cavs. There's injuries there, and two, there's just not a lot that's falling for you right now as a team, and it just doesn't look like the Boston Celtics are playing their best basketball. It'd be different if they're like shooting like 60% from three just as a team, but they're not. They're not. These playoffs have been really, really really, what's the word? Really like mean to these 3-point shooting teams, these teams that this new age of basketball, that everyone's been talking about these recent couple of years for the 3-point line, the bigger plays, stuff like that. This new era of basketball is not looking a whole good in these playoffs. So it's been physical, it's been in the paint, it's been rough, it's been just grindy and just beating everybody up and physical. And I'm not saying the Boston Celtics can't play that way, but they're not built to, right? They can, but they don't have their stars who are kind of big physical players. So obviously I got New York. I can't believe we're going to have probably a New York and Indiana Eastern Conference Finals to determine who goes to the NBA Finals. If it's that, I think I'm picking New York. No offense to Indiana. I just think Jalen Brunson is playing out of his mind right now. And you put him in the fourth quarter with a chance to take the lead, he will. And that's just how this team is playing. We've seen some bad performances from this team, but I thought that they were grinding it out in that Pistons series. I thought that they've been grinding it out in this Celtics series, and we've seen that the Indiana Pacers can, put up a stinker every now and then. And if you put up a stinker with against Jalen Brunson, he's going to make you pay. He made the Boston Celtics pay, which are the NBA champs. Yeah, I think that goes without much else being said. But man, you talked about it a little bit, but anything else in this series before we go to the absolutely stacked Western Conference?
Let's go over to the West.
With the West, man, we've got. Could you remind me what it's 2-2 with Denver and OKC, right? This one's tough, man.
Series tied.
This one's gonna be tough because I think coming into these playoffs, I was not positive about the Denver Nuggets, and I don't think a whole lot of other people were. Right? You look at this situation, you're like, no head coach, no GM. This is kind of a team that is looking for an answer right now going into the playoffs, and well, God damn it, they found one, and that is Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray has been the answer for this team, and not even Jamal Murray. Like, yes, Jamal Murray, but also Aaron Gordon. He's been fantastic. Anytime I watch him in the playoffs, he's just like making highlight plays and making big plays and game-ending plays. Like, he pretty much took out the LA Clippers, not on his own, but there were a couple moments in that series, specifically the put back at the end of the game where it was just like, oh, all right, well, thanks, Aaron Gordon. What the heck, dude? Like, how do you even do that? So he's been fantastic throughout these playoffs. Obviously, Jamal Murray might be the greatest playoff riser I've ever seen, and I did not put enough credit on his name in the playoffs. I forgot what he did when Denver won their championship. And Jokic has not been having the most amazing playoffs so far. I think OKC has been playing really well against him in this series. Hartenstein has been doing a good job down low, keeping him kind of out of his comfort zone a little bit, and doesn't matter. They're still tied 2-2, and against the number one seed, the best record in the NBA with the OKC Thunder. So this one's tough, man. If Denver wins this series, all hell is breaking loose in the Western Conference. I have no idea who's making this. If OKC wins this series, I think they go to the finals. I think this is kind of crazy, but I want to say that I don't know. But OKC wins this series, they go to the finals. I'm not necessarily positive about Denver. It's kind of tough though, bet against Jamal Murray. But we go down to the final series, man, and this one is tough to talk about, to be honest. With Steph Curry going out in the middle of this series, with the Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think the Timberwolves are up 3-1, if I'm not mistaken. So this one's going to be tough to come back without Steph. I think Buddy Hield has been playing out of his mind these playoffs. Draymond's been playing all right. He's been playing a little bit. He's been playing physical. He's been setting the tone. I like how he's being that kind of that bruiser, that brawler we don't see a whole lot in today's NBA. And obviously Steph Curry was doing wonders when he's in. Jimmy Butler is just not able to do. He's not able to be Superman. You know, he can sometimes be Batman, right? But it's just not enough, man. You need the whole Justice League here, right? We gotta get some other guys in here. We need Batman. We need Superman. We need the whole starring cast for this team to work. And that was the reason that they were such a good team by the end of the year, was because they had that dual threat with Steph and Jimmy Butler, just two different styles, kind of able to switch it up like per play in like a single possession. Like you have no idea what's going to be coming at you. And now they're kind of a one-trick pony. And it's like, okay, Minnesota, Anthony Edwards, Rudy Gobert starting to hit his stride a little bit defensively, and he's starting to play real well. And Julius Randle's been playing out of his freaking mind. Like, this team is just like, I don't know who was winning this trade between the Minnesota and New York trade with Karl Anthony Towns this offseason, but it looks like both of them are just like fantastic, and A+ for both trades at the end of the day, because both of these teams might make us to the conference finals. And Minnesota, they could do it. I like this team. If they go on to the Western Conference Finals, let's say Denver, OKC, it's going to be really tough because Anthony Edwards is fantastic. He's playing at an all-time level right now, and I would love to see just an absolute duel between him or Shea, or him or Jamal, or just a duel between those two guys, because Anthony Edwards has been a guy to remember in these playoffs. He's had a couple games where it's like, but then he comes back and he's like, yeah, we're here. This is what we do, so obviously has a ton, but I would love to see Minnesota take him out. I think they can easily, going back to the Western Conference Finals, and I'd love to see Denver take out OKC. I would just love absolute chaos. All the 1 seeds are gone. All the 2 seeds are gone. Like, I think that would be so much fun in terms of the NBA. Remember what I said at the beginning of these playoffs? Like, if any one of these teams 1 through 7 make it to the NBA Finals, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm still not. Right? We have Minnesota having a potential to go up against either OKC or Denver, and if it's Denver, I'm still not surprised. So they've been playing out of their mind, but that's pretty much all the NBA talk. It's gonna get more heated, I think, during the conference championship games in the NBA Finals. But you got anything else on these series, man? Because they've been entertaining.
I do not. I don't have anything on NBA, and we got to go quick here. All right, we're jumping to the NHL. We've got the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Florida Panthers. That series is tied 2-2. We have the Edmonton Oilers up 3-1 on Vegas Golden Knights, absolutely stealing games that they should not be winning, but they are. The Carolina Hurricanes are up on the Capitals 3-1. Capitals look like a wet blanket. Then you have the Stars and the Jets 2-1. But rapid firing with these series, the Panthers and the Maple Leafs go up 2-0, right? And then all of the sudden, Florida fights back and wins 2 games in a row. To me, this series, it already looks like it's over. I do think that Florida's going to go ahead and take this series. What do you have on Toronto and Florida?
Good job. Bobrovsky. Oh, my God. You can see the glitter at the top of the stadium, in the arena. You can see the championship pedigree coming through. Yeah, absolutely. Give me Florida. And, what's the word? The playoff woes-stricken Toronto Maple Leafs, we'll put it like that. Unfortunate for them, but I think I got Florida, man. They're just a wagon. Like, how do you Brad Marchand? Like, come on, like, what are you supposed to do, man? They played a good series so far, but yeah, it's just I feel like they're winning the puck in like every single part of the ice, man. They're just so many different weapons that Florida can go to, and so many guys that they can just like be like, hey, we need some energy tonight, and Marchand's like, yeah, I got you, I got you.
I mean, yeah, Marchand's on the freaking third line. You know what I mean? Like he's on the third line. Like, yeah,
Exactly.
this is a Florida Panthers team that's built even better. You can argue that they were last year in the playoffs. My biggest thing with them is Kachuk's not fully healthy,
Of course.
and how far is that going to actually get them? And Ekblad coming back, and all of that is big up and down in Florida. But if for me, Toronto had to go up, they go to overtime in that third game. It should have been, 2-1, 3-1 in that fourth game. That's how it should have been, but it didn't, and Florida's tied 2-2. So I'm not sure on that one, but I think the Florida Panthers are going to be going real quick. Next series we have the Oilers versus Vegas Golden Knights. Like I said, the Oilers are up 3-1. They literally won 2 to 3 games that they should not have won. It's just that simple, and they're just going. Even though Vegas was my cup pick to make it there against the Florida Panthers, I don't think that's going to be very alive and well anymore. I think Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are absolutely taking over this playoffs, and you can't argue against those guys. Anything on this series?
I mean, if Vegas didn't win that one game at the very end, the series would be over.
It would be over already.
It would be a sweep.
It would have been a sweep with Vegas, which is insane because how much the Oilers struggled with the Kings.
Yeah, and the Oilers like recent like injury woes to with their goalkeepers
Yeah,
like that's crazy. Like the thing that
yeah,
they're struggling with the most.
They pulled Skinner, and then their other goaltender came in. He got hurt, and then Toronto, same thing. They got Stolars, and then Sam Bennett hit him in the head, and he's back practicing. But Joseph Wall is there playing. So you've got a couple backup goaltenders in this NHL playoffs.
I mean, it's impressive, man. I think that was kind of the knock on an Edmonton, especially last year's playoffs, and coming into this year's. How is that goalkeeper position going to kind of consistently going to go throughout the playoffs? And well, it's not gone well, but it's not seemingly like it hasn't mattered. So, Connor McDavid just produces his magic again.
Of course, right? You can't ever bet against the best player in the world. Then you have the Hurricanes and the Capitals. Like I said, the Hurricanes are up 3-1 in that series. Honestly, not necessarily like the best series. I'd say probably the worst series out of this second round. But Ovechkin, if Ovechkin's not scoring or Stromer's not scoring, it doesn't really seem like the Caps are doing too much.
Right.
I thought they were gonna, win the first round and get bounced in the second round. That was my prediction. So I fully understand. I fully think that Carolina is gonna win this. And everybody's talking about how Carolina had Rantanen and how much better they would have been with Rantanen. It would have been nice.
Logan
but Carolina's
Stankoven
still looking really, really good.
Logan Stankoven, who they got in that trade, has been playing really well. So I think it's
really well.
I think it's a win-win situation for both teams. Obviously, you'd love to have Rantanen; he's done amazing. But I mean, you can't just look back at that trade and be like it was a bad trade. We got Logan Stankoven. I mean, he's helping you win games. I mean, and single-handedly in some of those games in that series. So I don't think it's a bad trade at all. The only one who's probably hating their life is probably Colorado. Colorado's probably being like, God damn it.
Loses to Dallas, who doesn't have their number one defenseman, and one of their best forwards is out the whole time. Speaking of Dallas, we have the Dallas Stars versus the Winnipeg Jets. That series is 2-1 Dallas. Mikko Rantanen could literally get eliminated this round and still win the best player in the playoffs. Go Stars. Big game tonight. Starting in a couple hours.
Miro. Guess who's back, baby?
There we go.
Heiskanen.
The best defenseman on the team.
Heiskanen
is back.
He's been activated today. He is back and he's ready to go. The Stars are back at full force. I know us fans, we were kind of, hesitant to think this could even be a possibility, especially getting that first round matchup, the end of the regular season. Everything is looking down and in the dumps for Dallas, but Mikko Rantanen, the shining, pillar of light coming from the depths of hell over here in Dallas, man.
There we go.
He just came in, and I feel like he revitalized his team, especially in that first round. He showed them that, like, yes, you can still play. Like, we can still be this dominant team. We can still play at a level that is, one of the best in the league, even without these guys, even without one of our best offensive players and our best defensive player. And Mikko Rantanen is coming out, and he is just putting on a show pretty much every single night. And we're gonna see if he can do it again. I think they put it at night, right? So it's been fantastic. He's been single-handedly like bringing them through these playoffs, and even when he's not scoring goals, he's putting guys in position to score goals, and he's activating like guys like Wyatt Johnston, like Duchesne, guys like Marchment. Like these guys are just getting opportunities because of Miko and stuff like that. So we're gonna see what happens when Heiskanen comes back in the lineup. I think Thomas Harley has had a couple moments this season, especially in the playoffs, but I think he's been playing really well, and you get another guy like Heiskanen in there, and it's just gonna get these guys rest, get Thomas Harley some rest. I mean, he's playing like so many ice minutes a night; it's like ridiculous. I mean, he's gotten
20
used
plus.
to it. He's gotten used to it at this point, but I think that's just good on the kid. You know what I mean? Good on him for playing this well in the absence of Heiskanen, but he's gonna get a little bit of some leisure time, a little bit of reward for doing what he's done in his absence. So, Stars are back. Stars are fully back.
And I hope they take out the Jets because that's my second squad, even because San Jose is not going to be there for a long time. Okay, Champions League. Obviously, I'm going to pick PSG in this one. That one's pretty simple for me. I did not. If you would have told me at the beginning of the season that Kylian Mbappe goes away and Real Madrid doesn't even get to the semis, you got PSG there, and you're playing Inter Milan for me. I love it. I think PSG could potentially be the favorites in this one, and
Okay.
it could be their first ever Champions League win. And for me as a PSG fan, I cannot wait for this game. And we got a couple weeks away. But shout out PSG. What do you got on this game? And then our golf picks to end the episode.
PSG. If PSG wins the CL, riots in France. It's not probably wouldn't be quite as World Cup riots from when they did that back in 2018, but
Speaking of Mbappe.
riots, riots in France if this happens. I've been talking to some of my French buddies, and they're absolutely amped beyond belief for this game. They're like, "This is ours. This is the one that we will win," because it's the best matchup they've had in a Champions League final from whenever I can remember. And surprisingly, without Mbappe, it's like every other guy is suddenly stepping up, and it's like, okay, well, where the heck was this? The past 10 years, right? It's like, okay, whatever. I'm happy it's happening, but they got a lot of these stars. They got like young stars like Desiree Doué. We mentioned him a couple times. He's playing fantastically. Dembele's playing a Champions League to remember, and it's gonna take a lot from Inter, I think, to be able to kind of keep up with this PSG squad because they know how to score. And defensively, I think that they're a very, very good team. So I think that was the big knock on them coming out of that round with Barcelona was like, where's the defense? This game is like 4-3. What the heck is going on? Like, it's exciting, don't get me wrong, but we're going like 6-7 on aggregate. Like, this is kind of ridiculous. And PSG really kind of stunning, a very talented Arsenal team who is a very, very, very good roster, and they've been making a lot of really good moves and plays in the Premier League as of recent. So I think all the cards, all the chips, and all the Vegas money, if Vegas bets on Champions League, should be on PSG in this matchup because I think Inter, yes, they do have firepower, but I don't know if they can keep up defensively. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But I would love to see PSG finally take it, and if Mbappe is just not able to get it, that would be kind of funny. Obviously, Mbappe, he's doing fine in terms of Real and his success there, but PSG, this would just be a massive, massive win for the organization.
Big win. Go ahead and take me through your golf picks, and I'll take my two.
So we got the PGA Championship this upcoming weekend. I think I'm gonna go and say I'm gonna pick Scotty. I think Scotty's been on a rocker this recently. I mean, he's like what, like minus, like he's like 35 under or something like that at the last tournament he played, which is absurd. Which is just he's just demolishing people by like 10 strokes. And it's like, okay, Scotty, like what? Okay, like we get it, you're back. So I got Scotty. I think that he could be a guy that absolutely comes out and just rips this tournament a new one. But we saw what he did at the Masters. It's kind of a good start, and then it didn't really end that way. So we'll see if he can continuously do it. We'll see if he can keep that consistency up and keep that form that we know that he can play in. But I also want to give my other pick. In case Scotty doesn't win it, I'm going to go Justin Thomas, man. I like how Justin's been playing recently. He won an event, right? And he looked really good doing it. And he was, I believe, top 3 or top 4 in this past event with the Truist Championship. And so it looks like he's playing some really good golf coming into this major. And man, I like how he's playing right now. I think that even though he wasn't like competing for the title at this last event, I think he played well, and I think he got a really good placement at the end of the day. And I mean, you just got to get a couple wins under your belt, and you're like, okay, now I got the confidence to go out there and actually win this dang thing, you know, in this big tournament, right, for the major. So those are my two picks. I like these boys. I think they got a good shot at it. And who are you going?
I'm definitely going to go Rory because of obviously he finally got the green jacket this year, and I'm going to
Obviously.
bring my boy from the U.S. Olympic gold medalist Xander Schauffele, the world number 4
Okay.
ranked golfer. So
Yeah.
those are the two guys I'm going to go. Folks, this was a great episode. I am very glad we brought back the good bow tie and the bad bow tie segment. Glad we talked about all things playoffs, and hopefully next time we talk in a couple weeks, PSG has themselves a Champions League win, but we will see. Folks, it's been fun. It's been real. It's been a sports-filled episode. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.